Salt and rap trap, greatest confident. On machine 808, that the make kind of room for a T. A2. Hey, fuck soul and real. Welcome to the space age. Welcome to the space age. Shut. Welcome to the space age. Welcome to the space age. Welcome to the space age. Pseudo killers in the back, keeping it real. Good juju, bad juju. Watch how we ride. Anthony Bauman, vision so clear. Scope at the stars. I'm a space age African kid. Welcome to the space age. Welcome to the space age. Welcome to the space age. I'm from the south, but I'm jiggling the stars. Universe is mine, we born from the bars.
It would be impossible for certain countries after the Second World War. I was able to navigate around this inconvenient line. There are three basic types of lines: white and maple.
What does that look like that?
Sometimes I made the deal so convoluted, it was hard for me to work out the authorities.
Peace, family. Peace. How's it going? Everybody doing good? Can y'all hear me, first of all? Uh-oh, what I do? All right, appreciate that. Appreciate that. Heavy hitters. All right. Let's see who we got in the house so far. Heavy hitters, debate league. Peace, peace, peace. Omar Reed. Peace to you, Omar. Miss Felicia Bennett. Peace to you. Peace. All right, try to get a few more in. Yeah, let her try to get a few more to come in to see what's going on. But what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna do a little shopping for a telescope. So yeah, just let a few more people come in the building. Still trying to work this thing out, how to get trying to get the link out. See how we do that. I don't know if I did that right. I don't think that's right. Let me take that down. Let me get a few more pseudo killers in here to help me out with that. But all right, we'll go ahead and get started. It's recording. They can come back. Check it out later. But yeah, just want to get with y'all and get us a let's see about getting us a telescope. Yeah, let's see about getting us a telescope. All right, this is one of the okay, what I done wrong. No, that ain't what I want to do. All right, y'all, bear with me. Want to share? Get my window up. Wonder what did I do? Okay, can y'all what can y'all see? Okay, it's not a all right. Hit present. Let me stop my screen. Okay. Let me start this over. Let me start this over, y'all. Bear with me. Okay, I want to present, share screen, Windows, share. Okay, it's not sharing. It's not sharing, y'all. I don't know what I did. Let's see if I can take that down. Okay. Present. Stop. Let's get this. Share screen. Windows. Okay, here we go. All right. I figured it out, y'all. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right. So this is our first. This is this store here is Explore Scientific. And this is one of those places where this is a good place to get to start with your to you want to get you a telescope. This is actually a pretty good company. This is one I actually bought a couple of telescopes from here. One was a National Geographic Newtonian, which was my very first one. I think this is the newer version of that, but this is the one that I actually had. I bought that one. This is a pretty good, beginner scope. It's what you would call a Newtonian. I want to say it's 4.5, maybe 5 inch. It's 114 millimeters, so you would convert that to inches. But it's actually a pretty good one. It comes with this mount, which is not an electrical mount, but it is an equatorial mount. And with equatorial mounts, they move in 3 different directions. You have this knob here would make it move in one direction. And then you have, let's see if we get a bigger picture of it. Well, I can't try to change the picture. But anyway, this is one of the first ones that I got, and it was pretty good. It's for visual. It's for you know, it didn't do so good for with a camera on it, but it is actually a pretty good telescope. And like I said, it's called an equatorial mount, but that's because it can follow the Earth in 3 different motions. So you have this knob here would move it one way, and then this knob would control would move the whole telescope like from side to side like that. This one is gonna make it move like this on the axis like that, and then you take this knob and it makes it move like this. So you get all 3 movements of the Earth, you know, because the Earth is tilted. So you have to be able to adjust this knob to get to the right, you know, plane of what you want to do is line up with the North Star. So you would always have your telescope, the front leg would always be pointing to the North Star. And you would use this knob here to adjust it up and down in this motion to the North Star. And you would use this one, like I said, to make the telescope go, you know, like from side to side, you know, and then this one here makes it move, you know, kind of, let me see, it's dark outside right now, but we'll get into, you know, the more technical parts of. We just want to shop for a telescope, so I'm getting off track. But yeah, this would be a good one to start with, a real good one. It says it's about like $200, a little over 200. So that's a really good one. I would recommend. Let's go back. They got a couple of good ones on here. This is also another good one, I think. Now I have this telescope. I have that one on a different mount. This would be a real good buy. It's a different mount, but it comes with other stuff. You would get a little adapter for your phone. This is a newer mount. It's it's not as good as the last mount that we just looked at, but you know it'll do it. It'll work. And like I said, it has the attachment there where you could use your cell phone to actually take a picture. So that's pretty neat. And it's only $100. Same size telescope though. It's 114 millimeters. So it's the same size scope. It's just a different mount. But like I said, it'll work. Yeah, it'll work. But I would recommend getting the other one over this one. Let's see what else they got. Now here's a very good deal right here. This is a very good deal because you get your equatorial electronic mount, or they call it a tracker, but I had that mount with the white telescope I was showing you, and my fault, I messed it up because when I got my orange telescope, I was running it on here, which was way too heavy to be on here. But you know, I found out the hard way and messed the mount up. So that's how I end up having to get another mount, because the telescope I had on it was way too heavy. They have a weight capacity to them. The telescope I was using was what, 17 pounds? No, 15 pounds, I think. And that mount is only rated for 7 pounds. So that was learning the hard way, I guess you could say. But this is what makes this a good deal is you get this electric mount, and it operates through Wi-Fi from a tablet or a laptop or your phone. So you can control it, with your phone. You don't see all the different, knobs and stuff on it because you don't need them. The only one you need is this one here, which will make it move in this direction so you can line up with the North Star. But everything else is done electronically, automatically. So yeah, this is a good one. That would be a good one to buy. If you could handle that, you get you a decent telescope, but the main thing is you get that mount and it's gonna track whatever you're looking at. So it'll stay in your eyepiece, and then it has the adapter for your phone as well. Now, I don't know how sturdy that adapter would be. Doesn't look that sturdy to me, but hey, it may work. But you could definitely get another one that would fit on that eyepiece. So this would be a good one. I would definitely recommend this, if not just for the mount itself. But you could probably get that mount on this site. How much? We'll see. So that's 3 of them. I think would be pretty good, starting out. Let's see what else they got. All of these are pretty decent. Yeah, they're all pretty decent. This, that's sold out. So all that stuff, they're sold out. So no need in going through that. But for what they have in stock, yeah, I would go with this First Light right here. 80 millimeter carbon fiber. That's what that CF stands for. With the go-to tracker, yeah, that'll be a pretty good deal. Let's see how much how much is that mount if you just get the mount itself. No, that's a different one. Yeah, that's not the same one. That thing's $700. Let's go back. We don't want to. We're not trying to do that right now. See what we get here. Yeah, this more like it. Okay, yeah. This is that mount that was with that telescope. So you see it's about $300. This is a really good deal. This is a really good deal if you want to go, with a first automated mount. But like I said, it's going to take a small telescope. You can't use a really big, telescope. And what you would do is just look at the specs, and they'll let you know everything about it. The mount head itself weighs 9.9 pounds. That would be the mount head right there. So this part alone weighs about 9.5 pounds. Yeah, this is what's called the mount head. This part here. These are the counterweights. So you wouldn't add that weight. Just this is 9.5 pounds. Just this part right here. And then and it tells you the tripod weight. But what you really want to pay attention to is the payload. So let's see what the payload is. The counterweights are only 1 kilogram each. But this is the most important thing here. the mount weight capacity, which is, same as the payload. So when you're looking at it, it says approximately, 9 pounds equipment weight. You can go up to 15 pounds with the equipment and the counterweights. The counterweights are 1 kilogram each, which is about maybe 2.2 pounds each. If I'm not mistaken, a kilogram is like, I don't know, is a kilogram? No, it's 1 kilogram, I think it's 2 pounds. So it'll be you got 4 pounds worth of counterweights and maybe 5 pounds worth of counterweights. And then you have, okay, if you have that 15-pound capacity for photographic, then you got to subtract the 5 pounds for the counterweight. So that's equipment and counterweight. So you need leaves you about 10 pounds for your telescope. And by rule, with one of these mounts, you're looking at using only half of the weight capacity. So that'll leave you 5 pounds, and that's a very small telescope. That's a very small one. So that's where I messed mine up, because I was using I think it's a 15-pound telescope. I was way over by like 10 pounds. So that's what ruined it. So like I said, that was a learning experience. But we're doing visual. So with visual, you can have a bigger, a little bit bigger telescope, because you don't have all the cameras and all that stuff, the computers and guide scopes and all that. You don't have all that. You won't need it. You can use a guide, maybe like what do they call them? A red dot finder, something like that. You don't need a camera on a guide scope for visual. That's overkill. But with 19 pounds, you can use a little bit bigger telescope. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this. And this is some of the extra stuff you can get with it. Like, this is a battery pack, but I just kept mine plugged up all night. I didn't necessarily need the battery pack, but it's good to have, like, if you're going to go to remote locations. That way you don't have to carry a generator or nothing like that. And this part here, this is the azimuth adjuster, which what that does is it gives you the ability to spin this whole part, the mount head. You can spin it. So it gives you like a fourth direction. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically to line it up, to line your mount head up with the front pole. So that's another, advantage to having an equatorial mount. So it's one of the stores. Just like I say, they have some really, really good beginner equipment, which, like we just went through. I would highly recommend this mount, even for visual, because it's easier when your stuff is automated. When I had before I got my automated stuff, it would probably take me an hour or two to actually find a target, and then I have to sit there with it and move the telescope myself in the direction that the earth is moving and the sky is moving. So it can be tedious. It really can. Excuse me. It could be very tedious, but getting you one of these, that actually makes the process a whole lot easier. A whole lot easier. So I would definitely recommend that. Oh, okay. All right. So here's the National Geographic one that I had, the very first one. Like I said, nothing's automated. It's all, you have to do all the controls. You're the one controlling it. And as you can see, well, facing that way is north. The telescope itself is facing south. But if you see that front pole, got that pole, so that lets you know that I'm facing north. And that's how you have to line them up that way. If not, when you go to use these controls, the telescope is going to move in a very, very awkward way and you're going to lose your target. So that was, like I said, this was my very first telescope. Next, we have what's called the Dobsonian, which we're going to look at those as well. But this is my 12-inch Dobsonian telescope, and it's called a Dobsonian because of the base, and it only moves two ways. The tube goes up and down, and then the base swivels around. So this was really hard work. and then you got to, man, you have to get it outside. You know, I want to say this tube weigh like 30 pounds and the base weighs like another 20, maybe 15 or 20 pounds. So I have to carry all that in and out. So what I did is I bought me one of those 4-wheel moving dollies, and that's what I got it sitting on now. So it sits on a dolly, on the 4-wheel dolly. And this is the one I was just showing you on the Explore Scientific website. This is that same exact mount, and this is the telescope that came with it. This is a 102 millimeter refractor, and this is that same tracker, the same mount. So yeah, like I said, I jacked mine up messing around with a heavy telescope. Killed it. Yeah, I killed it. So let's go to, let's see, another spot I like to use is Agena Astro. And this is where I buy a lot of my stuff from. I've gotten a couple of telescopes out of here. A lot of, some of the accessories, but they do have some great, stuff for, visual. So we'll go to the beginner telescopes. Now this site here, this is what they do. They specialize in selling telescopes and, cameras and all that kind of stuff. They have some really good ones. Like this one here, it's very small. It'll fit on a tabletop. So you don't have a really big mount, but it's a tabletop, what they call a tabletop Dobsonian. It's much smaller. It fits on a table. So, you can't put it on the ground. It sits up on a table, but it moves in two directions. Like I say, this tube moves up and down, and the base actually swivels. So it's a pretty good telescope. And I'm sure you could probably take that off and put it on an equatorial mount. If you wanted to get this and get a mount later, that would be a good one. Let's look at some specs. So I always check the specs. Everything I want to get, I'm checking the specs. So you got a 130 millimeter aperture. That's pretty good. That's about, I want to say about 5 inches. No, 150 is 5 inches. So that's probably going to be about 4-inch, more than likely about a 4-inch telescope. And this right here is the focal ratio and the focal length. Okay, the focal ratio, that just tells you how fast it gathers light. So when you go to look at an object, f5 is kind of in between. The lower this number, the faster you'll get resolution in your eyepiece, and the higher, the longer it'll take. 650 millimeter focal length, that's pretty good. That's you'll get a smaller field of view of what I showed y'all the other night, because the telescope I was using the other night, it's 400 millimeters. So it'll be a little bit smaller. Your field of view will be a little bit smaller with 650 millimeter focal length. So that's pretty decent for a tabletop. But then you get down into a lot of this, I wouldn't worry about the optical info. That's mainly, what kind of glass they use, the mirror coatings and stuff like that. That's a preference thing, but the more expensive, the better off you're going to be, no doubt. But, we're not trying to spend a lot of money right now. So this is like your observational information. So this gives you your limits on your mount before you have to do, like I was telling y'all, the meridian flip, where you would have to flip it. So those are your limitations. That's pretty decent. That's pretty decent. Well, with one of these though, you don't have to flip. A Dobsonian, you don't have to flip those. You can just keep going. It doesn't flip. So forgive me for that. We're looking at a Dobsonian. And then just, your general information, how much it weighs, because you're going to have to, if it sits on a table, you're going to have to move it. So that's very important. Something I didn't think about when I bought that 12-inch. I just wanted a big telescope. I didn't do all this. I didn't factor in that I was going to have to move this thing a lot, so. But like I said, I got an easy fix, a 4-wheel dolly. So that it rolls around very easily now. Now these, these are cool. The smart telescopes, all you do is just set it up and it just does everything on its own, take the pictures, do everything. That's cool. But to me, that's kind of like cheating. I like to be able to find my target and get lined up on it and do all that good stuff. But for some people, this is great, just not for me. That would be great, but see, that's kind of expensive. Let's see what else they got. Okay. This is a pretty good deal. $550 for a 6-inch Dobsonian. This is pretty light, pretty easy to move around. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. This one, that's an 8-inch Dobsonian, just like the one I showed you that I have. It's pretty good. And I always check the reviews too. The reviews are pretty major. So this is, like I say, this store here, it's a little more high end versus, the Explore Scientific. They have some high end telescopes as well, but their beginner scopes are, you have a bigger selection there. This store here is, like I say, they got a lot of the professional stuff on here. And you can get professional stuff at Explore Scientific as well. Don't get me wrong, but here they got a lot of stuff. And like these types, this is what's called a Schmidt Cassegrain. There's some excellent telescopes. Excellent. That's what my my orange one that I use for a while. That's what it is. It's a Celestron, but it's a 6-inch. So let me see if I can find those on here. A lot of those. See, all these are out of stock, which are some decent telescopes. These are decent. You won't be able to take a lot of pictures with them, but you can definitely put a cell phone adapter on it and use it. So that's just a few of them. That's just a few of them. Let me check what's going on in the chat here. Hey everybody, what's happening? Who we got in here? Miss Gina, Scarab Chronicles. Thank you for joining us. Good day to you. Peace to you, Miss Tiffany. What's going on with you? Appreciate you jumping in. Gary Barrett. Peace, my brother. Peace to you. Appreciate you coming through. Got Miss Lisa. Let's see. Yeah, so that's, wait a minute. What you say, Miss Lisa? My screen, y'all hadn't seen nothing I've been putting up there? Please tell me y'all been seeing that. Y'all didn't see what I was showing? I wasn't sharing my screen? Oh, man. Come on now. Okay, what about now? I know you can see it now, right? Oh, man. Okay. Well, y'all did see the IEX. Okay. Now we're in Agena. All right. Y'all can see that, right? Yeah, that gorilla got me. Okay, what about now? All right. So, okay, here we go. We back. Yeah. Okay, so now here we go in a Agena Astro. Like I said, I've been saying this is a more of a high end, store. You can get everything, of course, visually and astrophotography wise. But these are some good beginner scope. We talked about this. Well, I was going to look for the Celestron C6. That would probably be the one that I would recommend right offhand. That's a really, really good telescope for the price. Let's see. Let me find that. That would be a really good one. It's automated. It has a really, really good focal length of 1500 millimeters. So it's really good for planets and stuff like that. Just gonna type it in. I don't want to look for it. Okay. Yeah, this one right here. Now you can get this with a mount. I don't see it on here. They probably don't have it in stock, but you can get this one with a mount for about $1,000. And it's, like I said, this is the one I would recommend. It's pretty lightweight. You can move around with it, and when it comes on with that mount, you can actually move it, take it other places, move around with it. And it's not that heavy, but it's automated. Now it's not an equatorial mount. It's an alt-ass mount. It kind of moves like a Dobsonian, but it's well worth it. If you can do that, it's well worth it. I would definitely recommend it. Um, let's see if High Point has one. I'll just go straight to the Celestron site to show it to you. But it's a really good one. This is a very popular one as well, the 8-inch, but it's the same mount comes with the 6-inch. It's the same exact mount. So, matter of fact, here it is right here. So $1,079. That ain't bad at all. How you doing, Miss Juju? I don't know what happened. Am I doing something wrong? Okay. Well, anyway, that one is this one is the one that I would recommend for everyone. If like I said, if you can, Christmas time, I get it. I know we got, you know, everybody that's not feasible. But if you are able, this is what I would definitely recommend. This is a great buy. And I have this mount. I actually gave that to my grandson. So he's messing around with it, trying to he want to do what his pop does. Look at the outer space as he calls it. But yeah, this is a great one. I would definitely recommend that to everyone to get that one. When you, like I said, you can get an 8-inch, a 6-inch, a 4-inch, or a 5-inch, either one. But you see, the mount is the same. So that's the most important part, is the mount. You can get it with any size up to from a 4-inch up to an 8-inch. And you can see the prices, but the mount is what's more important. And people do leave their reviews. And these are pictures that people have taken and submitted, that they've taken with this telescope. So yeah, it's a pretty good one. That's the one that would be number one on my list. Yeah, that's the one that I would most definitely recommend, number one on the list. But like I said, that's pretty much all we're gonna do with it today. Just it's when you buying a telescope, like I said, there's a few things you wanna look into before you actually start spending money. But the mount is the most important aspect of it all. Like I said, if you want to take pictures or just using it visually, the mount just makes everything so much easier. You save a lot of time by using a mount like that, an equatorial mount or something, electronic, because it takes a lot of time, and you have to really know the night sky to find all these different objects. So it's pretty paramount to get that, get you a good mount. But like I said, it's not always about spending a lot of money. You can still get you an equatorial mount, but you're gonna have to be able to see, know the night sky. And let's see. Yes, Asiatic 777. Yes, you can see Mars. You can see Mars and Venus without a telescope. Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that. You asked that question. If you come out in the morning about 5 a.m., you will see, and you look to the east, of course, you're looking out, but you look towards the east, you will see two very bright objects in the sky. The smallest, or the one that looks the dimmest, would be Jupiter, and the brightest one is Venus. And if you look at that every morning, you will see Venus. If you go out the same time, just say 5 a.m. every morning, and you do that for 2 mornings, you're gonna see Venus getting closer to the eastern horizon every morning. That's what our ancestors back in the days, before they had all the technology, well, they never had the technology, but before we had the understanding of that we have now, that they were thinking that Venus, or whatever that was at the time, was going backwards or retrograde, you know. But what it is Venus is inside the Earth's orbit around the sun. Venus is closer to the sun. So as it's making its turn and we're moving at the same time, it makes it look like that Venus is going backwards. So it's an optical illusion. People call it retrograde. That's not what's happening. The planet did not stop and turn around and go back. That's not what's happening. But if you look at it, that's exactly what you'll think, because everything rises in the east and moves to the west and set in the west. So why is this getting closer to the eastern horizon? So with a lot more technology, we know now that Venus sits inside the Earth orbit, and that's what it looks like from our perspective. So that's what's happening. That's pretty dope. You can see that with your own eyes. What kind of lens did the Mayans use? I'm not sure. I don't even know if they used the lens. I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't answer that. But I don't think a lens was actually used, because did they? I don't know. That's a question that's something you can help me with. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to get into with you guys. I don't want to stay on too long. Oh yeah, all questions are great questions. All questions are great questions if you don't know, but you can't be afraid to say you don't know when you don't know. So that's part of the game. But yeah, I want to appreciate y'all for coming out. I really do appreciate it. And each time it's gonna get better and better. It's gonna get better and better. This is my second live. I'm getting comfortable with it. I'm getting comfortable, but I hope y'all can take something from it. Telescopes, they don't have to be intimidating. It's just a tool. And on my next show, I'm gonna show you how to set it up, set everything up, to be able to get lined up with the Earth's rotation. That's the only way I can take pictures. And like I say, for you doing visual, that's you have to do that to be able to move so you can move your scope with the night sky. Because if not, like I say, you're gonna your object is gonna move out of your eyepiece, and you're not gonna know where it's at. I'm telling you from experience. So, yeah. But with that, I'm going to say peace out, y'all. Appreciate you coming through. Y'all have a good one.